Thanks for watching The Instant Reaction. For full episodes of the Cannon Podcast, sign up as a YouTube member on this channel or go to patreon.com/thecannonpod. Hello, welcome back to The Instant Reaction. Oh, did you all hear that? Apologies. We're back. Welcome back to The Instant Reaction. No George today. George is unavailable, and Bhavs is at the game, unfortunately for him. So they will not be here. So it's just me. Well, look. The next Carabao Cup game would have been 2 days before we go to Anfield away. So that's one positive. Can we find any others? Kivior looked quite good. Jesus Christ, that was abysmal, wasn't it? Okay, let's try and make some sense of that. I think my main feeling from that game, and I'm interested to see, because I think there's going to be loads of different responses to this, and people are going to feel differently about this and whatever. This is an instant reaction. I've literally just watched the game. I haven't had time to process it. I'm just giving my thoughts out loud. That's, the title of the show. So, I could be wrong on this, and this could change. But I didn't feel massively like the individuals were to blame. Like, did I think any individual had their best game for the club? No. But equally, my main feeling was when we got to the final third, I was watching it with some friends, how many times we just gave the ball away. You can't do anything in football if every time you get to the final third, you just give the ball away. Whether it's over the top, whether it's Saka passing it inside and giving it away, whether it's Odegaard and slip ball giving it away. Like, it's, it's frustrating. Look, I personally, I don't massively care about the Carabao Cup particularly. Like, if we'd won it, it would have been a bonus, but equally, I'm not that bothered about it. I understand those people who are bothered about it and who would be upset that they think this is a massive reason a massive opportunity to win a trophy. The only reason I don't personally care about that particularly is because if we'd won the Carabao Cup, I wouldn't see that as like, well, there you go, that's proof that this process is working. It's just like, it feels like a bonus to me. The FA Cup feels like the first rung of the trophies. Like, it's just such an irrelevant trophy to me. Obviously, we can say that when we're out of it, but you know what I mean. Yeah, look, like on an individual basis, I don't think anyone's worth digging out particularly. That's not to say anyone was faultless. Far from it. Let's be clear. I'll go through the team on an individual basis. Ramsdale was okay. For the third goal, he probably could have done better. Let's be honest. He probably could have done better. I do think the ball hits Kivior, and I think it's coming at him, and I think he expects it, and it just slightly goes up, which is why it looks worse than it is. I think just on the first watch, I think it gets slightly deflected and sort of just goes beyond him. I could be wrong, so please tell me in the comments if I am. But that was my sense. By the way, I'm really ill, which was the worst the worst time to have this performance. So apologies if I'm sniffing. I didn't think his kicking was amazing. Like, I thought everyone was like a 4 or a 5 out of 10. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't see anyone and go, oh my God. I actually thought Jorginho played quite well. Maybe sort of a 6 or 7, but I didn't think anyone had a particularly good game. My main feeling was when we got to the final third, we were so poor in that final action. Actually, not even the final action. The action before the final action, like that was the main problem. I felt personally, was that reverse pass. Like the moment the final goal, that was the first moment where I felt like we got into a position because of a final pass, and I think it was Fabio Vieira. So for me, the problems then come back to more collective issues, which maybe we can discuss in a second. So yeah, if you're looking for me to like dig out certain individuals, I'm not going to. Sorry. Yeah, I thought we were really slow. We were really slow, methodical, and my main frustration with Arsenal at the minute is I don't mind how we create chances, whether it's like cutbacks or going long or like, shooting from distance, whatever it is, I don't mind. Just the thing I can't deal with is the one note, just consistently pass, 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 pass. There's no one who's going to inject any danger into the play. There's no one. It feels like want to take a risk. That was my main feeling. And that's got to come back to, yes, of course, the player's got to take some blame. It's like the perennial discussion of football, isn't it? It's like the who takes the blame, the Glazers, Ten Hag, the players, the whoever. Like, there's that, you'll see that in all. It's just a constant cycle of who is to blame. But for me, I always personally fall down on the side of the manager and the collective, and like putting people in environments and giving people instructions that give them the best chance to go out and do something. Because as I say, personally, just from the first watch, I didn't feel there was any individuals that I go, oh my God, you had a terrible game. So I just felt the slowness and the generally across the board and the inability for invention. I've got like a working theory at the minute around Arteta and like whether he's a little bit almost that we know what we know what we should be doing so much. Yes, Grumpy Doctor. I'm battering West Ham people. Please do it for all of us. For all of us. It's almost like we know what we should be doing so much now. Every player is so clear what the idea is that maybe stepping outside of that and doing something that Arteta hasn't coached, is that a problem? I don't know. It's a working theory. I don't know whether that's right or wrong, but it's what I'm feeling. Like it almost looks as if everyone's like, well, I know what I need to do. It's so clear. The idea is so clear. You stand here, you play this pass here, you make this option. We give them 3 options here. The left back comes here. The right fullback comes in here. We all know how we're going to play. So is that the problem now? I think, and it's not the same as the roboticness. I don't think it is. I think it's a different problem now. I think where we almost know the roboticness, I think, was because we didn't know what we were doing and we had to follow it to the letter. But actually, I felt like the problem now is we almost know what we're doing too much. The players know clear as day what their instructions are, so almost never choose to step out of that, which causes the creativity issues. I hope I'm making sense. Robert Pepple, thank you so much for your contribution. I really, really appreciate that. Why didn't Mikel take out Vieira and Zinni at half time? Zinni was getting cooked and Vieira loves side passing. Havertz was making good runs. Nelson was the best forward today. He kept the ball going. Yeah, I thought, look, mate, like I could come back on all of those. I could say I thought Vieira had some poor moments and some good moments. And I thought Zinni had some poor moments and some good moments. Zinchenko, like, if you're gonna, should he do better for the Kudus goal? Yeah, absolutely. Did we all sit here 2 hours before the game thinking Zinchenko is the best left back defender in the world? No, we didn't. So it's like you get what you're given. Do you know what I mean? You're like, sometimes you just have to accept that we're going to concede those goals throughout the season and focus on the bits that he brings. And he didn't bring that tonight. So I'm not interested in that particularly personally. Havertz was making good runs. I also felt as though, again, his final action is so off. I think it's a confidence thing, and I do agree with you on Nelson. I thought Nelson had a really, really good game. Willock 3 now. Listen, lads and ladies, if nothing else, we can always laugh at United. Do you know what I mean? Just take a moment and just think. If nothing else, we will always have United to laugh at. It's kind of a nice thing, isn't it? Yeah. Look, not good. We have to give some credit to West Ham, of course. Have to give some credit to West Ham. I thought they defended their box really well. I thought their sixes did really well. Paqueta, man. God, doing step overs and like flicking the ball over us and stuff. I'm just like, come on, mate. If that was Richarlison, he'd be absolutely slammed. But it's if that was Xhaka, it'd be slammed. But you know what I mean? Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that at all. I really, really don't like that at all. It's just, to me, just disrespectful. And with the Rice thing, man, I don't know what you guys thought of that, but imagine booing your ex-captain who got bought for what at the time was a British record transfer fee, and I think is still the transfer record fee for a British player. I think, could be wrong. Imagine booing someone who gave everything for your club, won you a European trophy. If you don't want to cheer him, fine. But actively booing every touch because he left West Ham, it's so cringe. Like, honestly, I rarely resort to that kind of language, but it's like it's because it's immature. It's so cringe. Like, come on. Like, you can't recognize where you are in the football pyramid and recognize that, okay, yeah, I can see that this is a step up. He's challenging for titles. Look where you are in the league. Like, it's a fact. Sorry, not to sound like Ben Shapiro, but facts don't care about your feelings in this case. Like, like it's yeah, I find it really bizarre. And I don't know loads of them applauded him and stuff, but I did think the fans who were actively booing his every touch was super weird, man. I'm just like if Arsenal, if I was at the game and the opposite had occurred, where say we weren't fighting for stuff and our best player went off, having won as a trophy, saying how much he loves the club and he'd been given a great opportunity. Yeah, of course it hurts, and you're not going to like it, but you're going to boo them actively. Nah, not for me. I'll come to some of your questions because I think that'll be a good jumping off point for this. So we need Messi. Well, we always need Messi. I would argue Messi is good for every team. What I think this is the thing. This is what I feel is missing from Arsenal at the minute. It's an unpredictability which comes from things that aren't coached. When you have better players, the reason when we go into these games confident is because we have better players. But to get the best out of those better players, you have to give them a platform for that talent to rise and be better than the talent on the other team, right? And I think at the moment, I don't want to go into I don't want to go to the dictator stuff and all that stuff, but I think it's almost like, here's your role. If you step out of it, especially when you see players like Ramsdale, who supposedly, he said in his Players Tribune interview, didn't he? He said, I basically, Mikel and I were talking on the training ground, and I was saying, I'm not going to do that. I feel exposed, and we found a compromise and whatever. And I think at some point, when do the players get to express how they feel? When do the players get to say, actually, I don't want to play that pass there, even though it's the right thing to do. I think I want to try this. And I'm sure Mikel's idea in the end is freedom, but I wonder whether that balance has just slightly shifted. It's just slightly shifted. I also think, I do want to say this as well. We looked like a team who hadn't played together. And if you look at the starting 11, we hadn't. Do you know what I mean? So that is another part of it. Like, I feel as though the first half, we especially we were controlling the game, but the final action wasn't good and wasn't good enough. But then it looks like because it felt like it was a team who just hadn't played together and they hadn't. Do you know what I mean? So to some degree, I have to accept that. And I also feel, one more thing before I come to another comment, I also do feel that the West Ham goals, if you look at them, what are they? A terrible moment from Ben White. Terrible moment. Like, let's be clear, it's not good enough. And, he knows that. We don't need to go in on him. He knows that. But mistakes happen. So fine. You hold your hands up. Some of those moments go for you in games. Some of them go against you. You hold your hands up. The second one is fair enough. That's a goal. That's a good goal from them. We should have defended that better. I think Ramsdale could possibly do better. Zinchenko could definitely do better. But it's a good goal. Good take from Kudus. And kudos to them. And the third goal's it's a deflection, in my opinion. It's a deflection, and it's straight at Ramsdale. And I think if it doesn't take that last deflection off Kivior, it goes in. So, and they're on the count. They're playing like prime United. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm not that bothered. Robert Peppel, thank you so much, sir. Vieira, Rice, Zinni, Tommy, Nketiah, Odegaard, Shift Havertz to striker, and Odegaard, Rice, and Jorginho for midfield at half time. Yeah, I don't dislike that. The only, I think the Shift Havertz to striker thing is the main. Okay, let's talk about Havertz. It's like I said at half time. It's like watching a baby driving a Lamborghini. Like, I can see what he's trying to do, and I can see the actions, and some of his stuff is so nice. Like, some of his little cutbacks and drives and reverse balls and little flicks around the corner. Some of that is lovely. But when he gets it wrong, he crashes and burns, and it looks really bad. I see the vision. And if you can get that firing, if you can get a 6-4 rapid final third facilitator working in your team, if you have the balance around it of killers, and especially if hopefully when we get like a 9 profile that can come in and absolutely kill it, I genuinely think Havertz could absolutely cook. But right now, it's crazy. Am I just missing something? If Arteta doesn't win anything this season, should we sack him? And then someone says, no, we shouldn't sack it. Is there genuine conversations about sacking Arteta? Mad. Agree, Max, with you. Zinni was very slack in terms of out of possession. But again, I said it earlier, like, I feel like we kind of know that in a way. Like, if you're going into this game expecting Zinchenko to defend his shoulder in the same way that Tomiyasu can, it's just not going to happen. Yeah, to some degree. Like I said it at the beginning, as a kind of positive, Khalid. Like, we've got bigger fish to fry. Like, in a way, I don't want to do that sort of false positivity thing that people do when they're like, yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. It's actually a good thing we went out. It's not a good thing we went out. You want to try and win 4 competitions. Let's be clear. So that is their headline, but subtitle. I do think, in a way, we have a lot of competitions to play. We want to try and go far in the Champions League. We want to try and go far in the Premier League, obviously, and obviously in the FA Cup as well. So, like, if we had to go out of a competition, it would be this. What I will say, though, is broadly in Arteta's tenure, his cup competition performances have not been good enough. They haven't. So there's something there that like that's the pattern. Do you know what I mean? Like, tonight you can talk all you want about whatever it is, but I think the pattern is Arteta underperforms in cup competitions. I think we could start to say that with a decent amount of confidence. I know, obviously, other than the FA Cup aside, but since then we haven't had a run. Have we got to a Carabao semi-final? I could be wrong. I don't think so. We got to a Carabao quarter-final. Could be wrong. So yeah, FA Cup similar. I think we've been knocked. Like, I remember like FA Cup against like Southampton and stuff like that. Second, if we don't win any trophy and make less than third in the league in the table, I think we'll be out in the semis of the Champions League. We got a semi in 2022. I don't remember that. Oh, against Liverpool. Yes, of course it was. Of course it was. Yes, we got in between their lines a lot. Jorginho and Zinni were finding Vieira and Havertz, but the final actions were shocking. Yeah, that's basically what I feel. I actually think we had a lot of central access tonight. I think we got into a lot of the moments before the assist, if that makes sense. Almost the click, the moment before that final click, that final like one bang. It was like we were getting into those zones, but we just couldn't access it all night. And I did feel the main problem was just giving the ball away. Like, you can talk all you want about runs in behind and manipulating defenses and third man runs and all this stuff that we try and cover on the Cannon podcast, like, the tactical side of the game. But if you, it might sound simple, but if you can't connect with your guys in the final third, you can't do anything. Like none of that matters. You could just play 4-4-2 Sir Alex Ferguson ball. If you can't pass to your mate in the final third, there's nothing you can do. So yeah. Grumpy Doctor says, I miss Xhaka so much, mate. There was a comp going around of him today on X. And yeah. Yeah, to some degree, I think you're right, Sean. We need to recognise and appreciate West Ham's conversion. They had in terms of, they had some really strong moments. And they were, they were clinical. I think, this is my worry about Arsenal broadly, and was my worry last season is how quickly we get transitioned on. And without Jorginho, I think, without Rice and without Saliba, without those sorts of players, it's going to happen. So we're going to have to accept that. Mohammed's had a good question. Hi, Mohammed. When are we going to play our youth, if not in this competition? Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's strange because, I mean, Arteta's kind of in a catch-22 because if he puts the youth out and we lose, it looks like he's not taking the competition seriously. If he doesn't play them and we win, where's the opportunity for them? Because we're getting further and further into the competition and more likely to not play them. And if we don't play them and lose, he looks stupid. So you're kind of in a lose-lose scenario. What I would have liked to see is something like a cameo for someone. Yeah, even in this game, there's going to be a point where you can, like the last 20 minutes or last 10 minutes or something, just to give someone their first team debut. And yeah, it's something that broadly I do feel Arteta not necessarily struggles with because, but it's something he's not been particularly good at in his tenure at Arsenal. I don't think. I think he's brought through like 7 players now with not Kozu Dubry, sorry, Sadio Junior. I think with Sadio Junior, he's now he's brought through 7. I think Ben Cottrell, Aziz, Balogun, like 2 or 3 others. It's not many. FA Cup is our trophy, says SE, and we have to take that seriously. When do we play in the FA Cup? I actually don't know that. Yeah, because have we haven't. I'm not sure we played an FA Cup fixture yet, have we? FA Cup fixtures. Have a look at that. Okay. So the first round's happening sort of over the next Saturday. This weekend actually. The first round's happening. Let me put in the Arsenal fixtures. Arsenal FA Cup fixtures. So we've got someone will be able to tell me in the comments rather than me having to search. But let me search for it. I'll find it. Someone tell me. Ramsdale faced 3 shots. That is slightly concerning. Billy Griggs, catch 22, pick one and do it properly. He half-arsed it and stuck in 2 minds. Ridiculous 700 million spent, and we're complaining about the squad. I hope I explained myself correctly. I'm not complaining about the squad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, and I also don't think he got stuck in 2 minds. I think he didn't play any of the youth. And the squad thing is a separate thing. I'm not complaining about the squad at all. I think Arteta should have done better, 100%. Motivation, Rocco Josephson. Apologies if I've spoken said your name incorrectly. I feel like the team wasn't really motivated today. Yeah, I felt a bit of that. I think from players like White and Gabriel, I did feel that. My only real tactical point was I felt as though Gabriel, in build-up, so say we have Ramsdale here, Kivior central centre-back, who I actually thought looked really good, by the way, and White here. Gabriel would often be sort of too wide, and I wanted him to offer more of a progressive ball. It's a really small thing. That doesn't mean we lose the game, but that was the only thing. And I wondered whether maybe he doesn't trust Kivior and Ramsdale as much as maybe he trusts a Raya and a Saliba, which is probably fair. January in the FA Cup. We lack fluidity, says Sola Morka. I would argue this evening we did a bit, but I think we have bigger problems this evening, and I would say they were in the final third. I'd say we lack fluidity through the season. But yeah, and I think Cassie Reddy has said a good point. You do notice without Saliba the difference. You do in terms of build up. Like sometimes he makes it look really simple, and we just think, well, anyone can come in and do that. But yeah, you can see that the ease with which he plays out, the intelligence of his passing, the tempo of his passing, the detail on his passing. It's all these little things. Passing to the right foot at the right time with the right intention. It's not just a pass. Do you know what I mean? Brian Haining says Arteta out tonight. Christ. Dan Bartley says, how would you describe our performance in one word? Sluggish. Yeah, you said one word, so I'll say sluggish. There's no Oro in our defense without him. Yeah, do you know what? I do want to really sorry, Billy, I'll come to your comment, but this one's really made me laugh. Brian Haining, we have a weak mentality. What proper club has a support dog? Hey, you leave Win alone. She's beautiful. I think Kivior was great tonight, by the way. I thought Kivior was great, and he's always looked good. And I think he's in a bit of a catch-22 because he's not going to get an over Saliba. He's not going to play over Gabriel, I don't think. But I wonder if there's a slot for him at left back, because I think he's played in 6 at Spezia. I think he's got the fluidity in the hips to play there in the midfield. I think he's got the talent to do it. I think he's got the physicality, and he gives you so much going back. I do think like Tomiyasu's form hasn't helped him because Tomiyasu's been so good. But yeah, so here we are. Pokemon Go Speller 123. We need to have an uncomfortable conversation about Mikel Arteta. This is his team, his midfield. That's 120 million of a midfield. Are we really on the verge of winning anything this season with Arteta? Look, I understand the frustration. I do. I get like, I'm not saying anyone's wrong for feeling that at all. Like, you just feel what you feel, right? But what I feel is that we've got to focus on long-term trends and long-term process. And I promise you, I would be with you. I'd have my Arteta out banner right here. I'd have it on the wall here if I felt the trajectory wasn't doing that. Now, nothing in life does that. It does like, right? You see it in your own personal lives, right? And the general trajectory is good. Is tonight disappointing? Yes. Were we good enough? No. Am I going to ask myself a question and answer it myself again? Yes. But I do feel broadly the direction is good. The one thing I will say about Arteta is he often learns pretty much straight away. And if I'm predicting, I think he was trying to learn from last season when picking a fairly strong team. I think he'll go strong in the cups again, is what I would feel. I think he might take certain players out who might not see the light of day until January, possibly go in the window. Yeah, I hope he'll be picked out. Any positives from the game? Thank you, John. Less fixture congestion. Having Havertz and a poor Vieira as our central midfielders kind of took our forwards out of the game. We haven't found our midfield, and it presumably shows. Yeah, sorry. I think it's hard because we were all calling for adaptability and a different approach and a different way of playing at the beginning of the season, and then we got it, and we got different approaches and got different lineups and different ways of playing and different, well, now we're not, but sort of towards the beginning of the season, sort of a more chameleon Arsenal. We don't particularly like it. I think it's hard. It's hard to adapt a team. It's like I described it almost like a business. Like if I use the analogy of like a craft beer company. If you have one great beer, if you're Brewdog and you've got like Punk IPA, what's stopping M Hauser Brewer or whatever they're called, just copying that basically and doing it cheaper and better? You have to diversify. And even though Punk IPA is drunk really well and is really great, like people are eventually going to work it out, and you have to build up kind of market resilience. And I think that's what Arteta has done with Arsenal. He's trying to find different ways of getting to the result, but it's clunky at the minute and it's not quite right. Eduardo Acevedo says, who do you think will go in January? Win the dog. Get her out. Get her out. I don't want to make any predictions. I don't want to say anything particularly publicly. Not that it matters. It's football, do you know what I mean? But I just look at the Ramsdale situation. I don't think it's tenable. I don't think it's sustainable as it is. So either something's got to change, or I'm looking at January and saying, I wonder. Let's do a few more questions and then we'll call it a day. Not win, John. We're not getting rid of win, mate. Don't you worry. Eddie, I don't know, and especially with the kind of the touted money for Ivan Toney, I can't see that happening. I'll be honest. So I don't think so. But, whatever. Bring a cat in. Cats away better. My family had cats. I'm kind of a dog man now, to be honest. I'm kind of a dog man. We hate cats. This is what we're doing to distract ourselves from the pain of the of the result. Just like cats v dogs. Let's go. Matt G says all is forgiven if we beat Newcastle at the weekend, and that's kind of where I want to finish. Ben, look, on to the next one. It's not good enough. We shouldn't forget. You've just got to take the positives. You've got to take the learnings and move on. And if there were loads and loads of sort of patterns, the patterns that I see, as in things that I felt like their problems broadly over the course of the season and that we're showing tonight, well, the one-noteness, that is a problem. And I'm worried about that 100%. The performances of certain individuals, and I will say Kai Havertz, because I'm still not sure. Just still not sure. I don't want to pick him out. The other guy I have yet. It's not Ramsdale. The one note in this is kind of a broader thing in terms of like finding different approaches, different ways to win, and yeah. So I don't know. Those are the 2 or 3, I suppose, patterns that I see. Mikel not using youth, I suppose, has been seen again tonight. Like we've got to try and focus on the patterns, because you can focus on, oh, Ramsdale should have done this or so and so should have done that, but as Mikel always says, it's process, and then you get there. You can't focus on results. You've just got to try and focus on process. And was the process good enough tonight? No, but let's look at that rather than, Kudus having an unbelievable moment. Right, let's finish there. Someone told me that they're unsubscribing. Here we go. Moonlight says, you're a dog person. Sorry, mate, I'm unsubscribing. Right, we'll finish there. Go calm down, everyone. Have a cup of tea, whatever you do. I know for some of you it's like 4:30 in the morning, so or whatever you're doing, or in the afternoon. Sorry, just things caught my eye. Daniel Collins, it's results-based business. It is. And if the results over a course of 5 games, 10 games were poor, you look at that. But I think as anyone who's, I don't know, I think when looking at Arteta's tenure, I think you'll notice that the focus on the process and doing the right things has got the results right. I think you can't do the cart before the horse. I don't think you can. Here we go. I'm depressed too. I'm depressed, guys. I'm going to go drink a liter of vodka. Dare me to drive. I'm going to go drown my sorrows. What am I going to do? I might go watch Lee Gunner. He always cheers me up because he's like so far over that side that I'm just like, how have you got here? I don't understand it. What a man. Pleasure, guys. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. Please like this. If you want to check us out on Patreon, you can. If you want to check me out, I'm at The Different Knock. Shout out you dog lovers and cat lovers, but mainly dog lovers. We're out. Subscribe and peace.